you did. And these guys were fucking fighting over a nickel. That they would friggin', yell to get the line going again. If I had to take a piss or something and the line emptied out. The only good thing about it was a college program that when you went there, they only took out $10 a week in taxes. So I was grossing $290 a week, and I was taking home $280 a week. Now that wasn't bad for 1976, early 77. Actually, it was the summer of 77. And then, when everybody went back to college, or went to college after that, I figured, what the fuck, it's not a bad place to work. So I stayed there. Then I got my first check where they really took out taxes. And that $290 a week turned into like 40% off of that is what I took home. And I said, fuck this. I can't live on this. So basically, my parents always told us, if you want to go to college or trade school or anything like that, we'll find a way to get you in there. And when you thought trade school back then, you thought Lincoln Tech. I came here for HVAC, and I mean, if the school had gone on strike, I would have had every class. Instead, I had basic refrig and the heating classes plus intro and basic electricity. But I was a B student. I didn't miss more than one day out of each class. If I would have made every day out of each class, I would have been an A student. But I don't know.
Shit came up.
Nah, it's just I can't go every day. I just can't do it. There's something mentally wrong with me. But I didn't go out on the weekend and party all weekend. I might have gone out on like Friday night or something, but that was it. After that, it was fucking hit the books. I studied and studied and studied, and I'm mechanically inclined. Maybe that's why I did so well, because when I would look at schematics or they would draw schematics and I would have to wire something up, I just knew if it said on the schematic that it went from the switch to line 1, I knew exactly where it went, or from the switch to the pressure control. I knew exactly, so it was very simple for me to do that. And then doing this, and the instructor in here said, look, we're going on strike. Now back then, we used to smoke in class. They put out ashtrays on every table. So our teacher that we had in there and in here, he had a nose like a fucking grapefruit. So you know, he was one of the reasons why they were striking. They wanted to be able to go out and get sloshed in between classes and teach their night class drunk. And the night students were getting pissed off that their instructors were babbling on about bullshit instead of teaching them.
My wife, she didn't.
And put everything you can into learning this shit. This is easy stuff. Wait till you get into the hard stuff. If you're in commercial 1 and 2, your fucking life is fucking gonna end. As far as having any time for yourself, you are going to be studying constantly just to remember how these things are wired up. So start now. Start taking it seriously. You should have done that from intro. But I was always fascinated with all this shit, with soldering, with wiring, with wiring something up and having it actually work. But then again, I was a kid where if the toaster didn't work, I took it apart. See what was wrong with it. Sometimes I figured it out. Sometimes it worked and there was parts left over. It still worked. My parents wouldn't let me plug it into the house, but it still worked. I mean, they wouldn't make toast with it anymore, but easy with it. All I'm trying to say is the questions that you got wrong here are silly questions to get wrong. When I see on the final that people are still getting upflow, downflow, low void, and horizontal wrong on multiple choice questions, something's fucking wrong. And if you have Tomoldi, he gives essay tests, not multiple choice. So he's going to ask you something like, explain how a suction gas cooled semi-hermetic compressor works. Now we're talking about a fucking unit that has crankcase heaters for the oil, because the oil gets so cold it won't flow unless you heat it. And there are so many things involved in it that you really have to start buckling down. Some people did very well on this. Martini, I was surprised to see how well Martini did. He friggin' pegged them all. Now, it just goes to show you that he studied. How can you not know how many millivolts a thermocouple gives off when we spend so much time fucking around with thermocouples and showing you how the thermocouple and the gas valve works, and then talking about the thermal pile and how it works? How can you not know that? I told you to highlight certain things and to study them. These are going to be on the quiz. 4 to 15%. You know how many people got that fucking wrong? 4 to 15%. I mean,